a little retreat, and we're going to go and spend a little time kind of up in the mountains. I'm going to go over to a cattle ranch and take a look at some special Japanese cattle. Pretty unique. Got an invitation from them, so we're going to head up there. So what we're going to do today is we got some different questions and this sort of thing, but there's one thing I wanted to touch base with you about, and it just happened today with one of my clients. Here's the guy who is trying to follow how to work with his mule and have it healthy and this sort of thing. So he bought a mule from a trader that was supposed to be around 12 to 15 years old, the optimum age, the best age that you'd like to have, kind of mid-range. Well, come to find out, when the veterinarian come out and did the vet check on this mule, he was over 25 years old. Yep. Folks, anytime you are purchasing a mule, anytime, you make sure that you do a vet check before you do it, because these traders will take advantage of you. They'll do it, okay? It's unfortunate, but they will. So I want you to think about that. Anytime you're going to do any type of purchase, always do a pre-vet check. And more than just check for runny eyes and check runny ears, have them do a test on the feet, have them do a test on the scapula, so that you can make sure that you're buying a sound mule. Now, I don't know what all Dave's got lined up for you, but it's always been good. So I want you all to sit and pay attention, pull up your questions, and you can always email me later on and this sort of thing. I'd sure like to help you out. But thanks a lot for watching the programs. We get a lot of neat feedback, and it's really cool. So I want you to enjoy whatever Dave's got lined up for you. Notice here, these are some pictures of me roping off of my little mule here, and he's pretty awesome. And some other trophies and stuff. This is my trophy bin here of different things. This particular one is pretty cool that we had made up right there. You can see that. It's called Mule Riders for Christ. And then my Bishop, California one over here. Yep, kind of one little thing there, Bishop, yeah. And some other things, different things I got, different buckles and trophies and things like this. Kind of fun. It's all the past. And so now I'm enjoying spending time with you. Don't hesitate, call me. If you got a question, call me, and I'll be happy to help you out. Have a good day. Happy trails to you. Adjusting a halter is very, very imperative, and having it down here where it is 2 fingers above the nostril. Notice how the mule is dropping his head down. Do you see that? Why is that? Mules care more about their nose than they do their mouth. So if you want to train, you train the donkey side, the nose. You train the horse side, you put it up here. The horse, how many times the horse puts you on ignore or gets flighty and goes, I'm out of here, right? Okay? So you adjust the halter, which I'm going to show you, and you put it down here. The first thing that's going to happen is the head's going to drop, and then I'm going to squeeze it, and then I'm going to push backwards a little bit. See? I don't have to have a lot of pressure. All I have to do is have my tool adjusted so that it's correct. For my space, yeah. Uncomfortable. Comfortable.
Do you think that mules look around like that more than horses? It seems to me like she's always looking, my mule does this, as if you can't see me, she's looking all over, but my horse would never do that.
The donkey's always saying, I got to take care of myself. The side of the mule, the donkey side, says, hey, horse, look, you're getting yourself in trouble. The donkey says, we better do this, and we get the response. You're right. They are looking around. They do want to know what's going on, okay? And therefore, they're taking care of themselves, just like right here. I want this mule just to stand quiet. Look straight ahead. My left eye is thinking about me. My left brain. Remember the cranial lobe. That doesn't tell which one's which. So I'm going down the trail. Notice the licking of the lips. Yes, sir, Mr. Steve.
I like the Mr. part. I get away with this with the mule. My wife says, yes, ma'am. I said, what do you want, honey? Okay, so now, you see, when I'm going down the trail, I want them to pay attention to me. There, good for you. And so, therefore, I want straight. If they're looking around, they're looking for monsters, and guess what? Just like this mule did in the very beginning, he's not paying attention to me. He's not listening to me. And that's what I got to have. So, the minute you put a halter on is the minute you control his every thought. And you'll see the thoughts because of the nose. And what I'm doing is, every time the mule doesn't keep his mind on me, I want this much right here. Maybe straight, but at least that much right there where that left brain's thinking about me. That left brain is saying, okay, if I watch you right there, oh, see the thought there? If I keep my head right here, you don't hit my nose, right? Right. See, I have to allow him to make a mistake to say, that is incorrect. Notice how now it's less. There, right there. You want to train a mule to side pass, turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters, back up. You do it from the nose with a properly adjusted rope halter. Your horse trainers that are looking like, they call themselves mule trainers, one of the first things you'll start hearing them talk about is other things other than the mule's nose. You'll see it all the time. Okay? It's imperative that you train from the nose. I can get more done with the nose This is asking, telling. There we go. I'm asking the mule to back up.
But what were you looking at?
So what I was doing, I was simply picking up on the halter. Remember I was telling you before, allow the halter to work, allow the bit to work. So all I did was say go this way, and just the pressure from the halter, the animal goes. I didn't say come over here. I didn't say go over here, did I? I just made my mule work. I didn't allow the halter to work. You see? I allow the halter to work. Make the halter work. You see? I'm making it work. Watch this. Step back out here a little bit. You see me leading my mule? The halter's working. It's the halter. Okay? Yeah, can it be some of me? Yeah. But most of all, the halter's doing the job, not me. See, and as long as that pressure is on that halter, this mule's looking for this. He's looking for comfortable. Hey, you're making me uncomfortable here, and you've scared the crap out of me now.
You sure did.
Okay? You see, I'm making this animal uncomfortable. You are? Well, yeah, because the halter now, and I'll explain this to you in a minute. Now, notice how the rope comes away from the halter. Come over here to this side. Notice the pressure on the halter. You see here? Notice when I want to go this way, the pressure comes off. Pressure goes on. Pressure comes off. See that? So what's the mule looking for? I want to be comfortable. This thing is putting pressure on my nose. You see? What's he looking for? I want both sides to feel equal. Ah, life's good right here. Do you see? So you're making him uncomfortable just by picking up on the lead rope, y'all. And then you get this 5 pounds of lead rope on here, okay? And all the time, watch this, watch this. Remember I was talking about he's going down the trail? Do you see it? Why do they have a big muscle right in here? Why do they get tight in the throat latch? This is one reason right here. He's going down the trail. I'm overemphasizing right now, but it's going to be moving some. Look at that halter move on his nose.
Yeah, it'd be more than that.
Do you see it? Okay. So now I got a big honking halter and a big snap, okay, on a sweet little mule. You know, that, you better bow. Yes, very good. I actually, me and this mule, I was out with this mule earlier today. People don't know this, but I told this mule this. And this is really important. I want you to all remember this. Roses are red, violets are blue. When mules make me look bad, we'll be turned to glue. Disposition, y'all. This, I mean, this is a multi-million-dollar mule right here. You know, this mule here wouldn't hurt you in 1,000 years unless you got scared, which happens immediately, okay? But a disposition like this here is a wonderful thing. Everybody thinks, oh, this mule's trained. No, this mule's got a disposition. The training within 10-foot circle, if I see this mule side pass, turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters, and back up all in a 10-foot circle, you just impressed me. Because now I see training. All right? Oh, he's been up in the mountains. That's not impressive. I had a horse trainer tell me, he says, yeah, I rescue these horses. And I said, I just ride them up the trail. And I said, you're a trainer? Yeah. I said, do they side pass? No. They turn on the forehand? No. But they go up the trail. That's not trained, folks. That is disposition. Disposition, disposition, disposition. Okay? So, can you do things, which we'll be doing? Can you teach them how to side pass, turn on the forehand? Yeah. I take my lead rope, turn it up here like this, and side pass. Using the nose with my halter here, which needs to be readjusted. Turn on the forehand. So, the front end stays in place. Now I bring my lead rope over here, and the back end goes around. The back end goes around. Oh, I understand now. Ask, tell, demand. You see what I did? I said, go over with the back end. She's bracing into me. Okay, let's do that again. Bracing into me. Good. Oh, I understand. Ask. Then the tail. Now the demand, I could really get whacking. But did you notice? By the third time, the mule did it. Every time I got a little bit of response, my third time was better. All the time, I get phone calls and it says, I want to buy a 12-year-old mule. And I say to them, why 12 years old? Oh, he's got lots of experience. Well, so what does that mean? Does that mean that you can just ride the mule and he'll know what to do? Wrong answer. Does it mean that he's got lots of experience, so if he sees an elk on the side of a mountain, he ain't going to get scared? Wrong answer. Oh, if he sees a bear on the trail, he's not going to be afraid. Wrong answer. Folks, I don't care if he has hauled out 100 elk out of the mountains, if he's chased around pigs and jumped fences. I don't care how many times he's been up and down the trails, hauled fat people, skinny people, whatever. It don't make a bit of difference. You cannot put in the size of a walnut. They have brains on each side. They have the cranial lobe, which tells the right side what the left side's doing, the left side what the right side's doing. But the part that really handles the information is the size of a walnut. They cannot. It is impossible for them to remember everything. What's possible? Natural flight because of fright. Flight because of fright. They are going to use that natural instinct of running off because it is the best way to keep them from being in a problem. Horses, mules, and donkeys. Mule will run off just like a horse will, y'all. They'll buck, they bite, they kick. They're an equine. It is part of their life to help them protect themselves from what they perceive is a problem. Now, you're at the Grand Canyon, you get one in behind the other. The mule doesn't have to think. He's done that probably several hundred times. That's different. One in behind the other, you're okay, pretty much. Do you still got to think once in a while? Yes. And that's something to be considered. But think about this. I've been at Yosemite, packing freight, 5 mules behind me, and then all of a sudden, my gelding I was riding, it's all government mules, government horse, he looks up and sees a bear. This horse has been there for almost 4 years. Seen lots of bears. Lots of bears, lots of people. We're going down a trail, 5 mules behind me, and next thing you know, this bear, young bear, comes down off of the hill and onto the same trail we're on. And of course, all the mules' ears are up. My riding horse is up. And everybody's thinking, oh man, look, a bear. What is the leader going to do? That leader is the horse. What's he going to do? Whatever he does is what the mules are going to do, because equine have a leader, herd leader. Now, what was my horse doing? My horse was sucking back a little bit, thinking about turning, going the other way. Wait a minute, we're on a narrow trail, probably as wide as my arms are long. It is straight off on the left-hand side, probably 1,000 feet. And it's a big old gradual hill on the right-hand side. I don't have a lot of places to go, and especially turn around 5 mules and go the other way. Oh, wait a minute, I got an experienced horse here that's seen bears, mules that seen bears. Well, why isn't he going on? Because it's a different situation. It makes no difference. Every time you see something different, it's going to be in a different place, different smell, different side of the mountain. You see what I'm saying? They've seen the bears. I've seen these bears looking over a fence and almost touch them going by. But it makes no difference. They're an equine, flight and fright. So what do? I use my legs with my spurs, and I tap him right side, left side. I say in the right brain, go forward. Left brain, go forward with my spurs. That makes where I'm at uncomfortable. That means going forward, i.e. toward the bear, comfortable. Oh, wait a minute. He's uncomfortable. That's right. But if you go ahead and don't use your spurs, if you go ahead and try to do it with your hands in your seat, you are not going to have anything but a wreck. Oh, wait a minute. I got an experienced horse. This horse was 12 years old. Been at Yosemite a lot of years. Been up and down this same trail. Understand, if it wasn't for me, the herd leader, communicating with my hands, my legs, and my seat, I would not be able to get that horse to go forward. I'd be running back through a bunch of mules, maybe a bunch of hikers and stuff. It'd be a mess. So I use my spurs, right brain, left brain, with my spurs. And then at the same time, I'm slapping my leg, and I got my dally rope around the horn and a left hand on the reins. And I'm saying, hey, hey, bear, get out of here. Hey, hey. Man, that bear turns and takes off. This horse thinks, hey, his head goes straight up, his ears go straight out, and he starts trotting toward this bear like, okay, there we are. What would have happened if this 12-year-old horse would have turned and taken off? You'd have had a heck of a wreck. So, age don't mean nothing. Let me tell you something else. On my ranch, when I was training mules and selling mules to sell, training them to sell, I would have 3 to 5-year-old mules. They had a foundation. They knew what turn on the forehand, turn on the hindquarters, side pass, stop, everything within a 10-foot circle. They knew how to have a foundation, controls. When I pick up on the rein, I got a whoa. I go to the right or left, I get turns. Okay? A 3 to 5-year-old, I am punching cows on the side of a mountain. A 3 to 5-year-old, I am chasing mountain lions with the dogs. A 3 to 5-year-old, I'm packing elk out of the mountains or deer. Now let me ask you something. Would you rather have one that is young, that has a good foundation, with no bad habits to speak of, or would you rather have a 12-year-old that's probably got several bad habits? Why is it that when they have a mule for sale, that this mule, they don't tell you about the good things, bad things, they tell you only about the good things? How many wrecks has he been in, for heaven's sakes? You see what I'm saying, folks? It makes no difference of age. Now, it does make a difference in this, in that a mule matures at 7 years old, roughly, in a general thought. The other thing is their knees need to be closed. You can either have a veterinarian do some x-rays on it, or I like to look and see if the knees are closed by if the hairs are still curly around the knees or if the hair is long. But the best way
best way is x-rays. Okay? Now, do I want to take a 3 to a 5-year-old and hammer him all the time up side of a mountain, moving cows and stuff? No. I'm going to give him a break. I'm going to ride him a day. He's going to get 3 days off. I'm going to watch his temperature. I'm going to watch his breathing. But guess what? I'm going to do the same thing with a 12-year-old. Yeah, their bones are more solid and this sort of thing, but few of them can handle a whole day of punching cows without rest. So usually, like at Yosemite, you know, we had a couple riding horses and we had our pack mules, and that's what they give us. On ranches, when I go to work there, they'd have horses. They give me 5 horses. We rode them one day, give them 3 off, and we fed them accordingly. So don't go be looking for a 12-year-old with lots of experiences. Look for a mule that has a foundation. Pick up all the feet with ease. You can ride him within a 10-foot circle and see the mule stand still and quiet. You can see them when you get on. You can see the mule stand still and quiet when you saddle him and brush him. You can see the mule back up on a light rein. You can see the mule go right and left. And let's go at this. By the time he's 3 years old, he should not be in a snaffle bit unless you are training. He should be in a finish bit. And I got other videos out there for finish bit, and I can talk to you more about that. But look, folks, if you're buying a finished mule, there's not going to be 2 hands making them go. It's going to be 1 hand. Smooth and easy. My video, So You Want to Buy a Mule, that'll help you out a lot. If you want to call me and ask me a question, be happy to. And remember, folks, make sure you get a vet check. Make sure that you have your dental vet look at him for dental work. And you make sure your farrier looks at him. And most of all, don't let anybody tell you that this mule doesn't need shoes. If any farrier is worth his weight at all, he's going to see that contracted heels are going to be a big problem. That's one of the biggest problems with mules. They have the donkey foot, and because they have that donkey foot, it gets contracted. It expands and contracts, and when the back of the hoof comes in small, that frog comes in narrow like this. The smaller the frog, the less the blood pumping up and down the leg. So you got a small foot in the back, be careful. You got trouble. Besides that, it could take your farrier 2 to 3 years to get a contracted heel fixed. That's why you see their legs so crooked. So, okay, folks, there you go. 12-year-old is fine if it's got training, has a foundation. 20-year-old, fine if it's got a foundation. All right? So, hey, happy trails. Give me a call. Let me know what I can do to help. Come on, get on my website. Be happy to visit with you. My website is www.muleranch.com, or my email, steve@muleranch.com. You'll also see me Instagram, Twitter, all that trick stuff. So give me a holler. Let me help you. Have a good one.
All right, so now I let her go. Notice where the nose is sticking out and the head is high. Notice the head high, notice the nose sticking out. There comes the head. A little bit right there, there's some more there. Notice how the ropes on each side are going right, left naturally. As the animal moves his shoulder, it's naturally making the right, left motion.
What are you doing, looking for an escape?
There's surely a way I can get away from this short, fat guy. Now watch places, watch where the mule drops his head. That's really key. And watch where he gets his nose. But there's places he's starting to get comfortable. There's his head dropping, there's his head dropping. You see that? I always scare the crap out of these mules. So this ain't going to be done like all right now, but I want to get you all an idea. Notice how as the mule walks, the ropes go right, left, right, left. So they're rolling on the nose just like my hands was. And it's basically saying to the, and you're finally going to recognize me, huh? It's basically saying to the animal, get your head down. Because you see, those two knots on his nose is starting to make sense to him. And the more you do something like this, like you could take your saddle and tie those twines up, look at him dropping his head. And do this with them. The only problem is with just the saddle itself. If they roll on it, then they've rolled on your $900 saddle or $1,000. There, look, see the head? See the head? See the head? Nose starting to come on the vertical. You see? The halter's working, not me making it work. You see that? So just the baling twine, which weighs nothing, is negligible, is there, and it's just enough to say, get your head down. Get your nose on the vertical. So my softening techniques is not lateral flexions. It is not disengaging hindquarters. It's doing what's natural to the animal. You ever see an animal go around in circles trying to get away from somebody? I ain't seen it. I ain't seen it, okay? Natural horsemanship, that's called. Wrong. You know, Dr. Miller wrote a book, and we get a chance to study some of Dr. Miller's stuff. He's awesome. But he says, Natural Horsemanship Explained. He's got one whole chapter in there about me, one whole chapter about Dennis Reese and some of the other guys, you know. And he's saying, look, this is what natural horsemanship looks like. This is what it doesn't look like. He is so frustrated over this lateral flexions and peanut rollers and stuff like this. But like he said, Steve, I'm 87, 88 years old now. He says, you're just going to have to carry on with everybody else, you know. But look. Do you seeing it? How soft of a mule am I getting? I'm not up there doing it. The halter is doing the job. The back end's going to get up underneath. He's going to be pushing off his hindquarters. It's going to round out his back, all from the nose and the halter. Softness, softness, softness. The softness is there. We just have to communicate how to get it out. And you see all these big honking bits and stuff these guys have got, and this one's going to do it, and this one's going to do it, you know. But I like this a couple times. He's kind of come into me to kind of say, can you help me through things, you know. Come on, move. Right ear on me. Right brain thinking. You're an awful nice mule. You are. You make me look real good. Okay, y'all got the idea there, what we're looking for? If the halter is adjusted correctly, you're going to get response. And if that response comes in, it's going to be very respectful towards you. And that's what you want, okay? That halter is your number one tool. Number one tool. Throw all your other nylon halters and all them other things away. Just adjust one up using your trailer. People say, oh, I don't want to put it in a trailer because it might hurt them. Well, I'll tell you what, if you put the halter on, they'll quit dinking around back there. All right? I've seen just as many animals be stuck on the ground in a nylon halter, or I had to cut the halter and stuff off of them if they didn't get themselves hurt. With this rope halter, they respected. Put them on a hitch and post. Let them stand there. They go to pawing and stuff. They'll get over it. I like you. You're nice. Yeah. You make me look good. Does that make sense to y'all? Mm-hmm. Does it? Yep. You see how simple it is? Okay, so we're going to hang this up someplace and say never again. You know, feel the weight of this and feel the weight of these two strings. I bet you all can feel the difference in it. And I've already showed you what a throat latch looks like and what it does, you know. So do you see how these little things like this will make such a difference in your mules? Because you see, you putting those tools on them is uncomfortable. And they're thinking, why in the world should I trust you? And pretty soon they start saying, oh, now I'm going to be comfortable. You know, it's a lot nicer. Things are a lot easier, you know.
So by doing all this foundation with the halter, so when you do put the bridle on them, all that's going to help you have control.
Yes.
Because that's, now I'm putting it all together, she's strong, and so when she's riding her, she, you know, she can go.
There you are.
And that's the part that scares me as a
Absolutely.
mom. You know,
I agree with you,
go.
Misty. Sure. Oh, you bet.
So.
You know, I hear you, and you're exactly right. But see, here's the problem. Horse trainers tend to bluff one through, push one through, make it get done in 30 days, 60 days, something like this. And one of the things Dr. Miller says, he says, horse trainers tend to push one through, bluff one through, push them, push them, push them. Mule won't allow that. They won't allow themselves to get buggered. That donkey side comes out and says, whoa, just a minute. But you see what happens when I got all in a hurry and dinked around with this mule? He got all worried. Same with the other one. He got all worried. But I took my time and I showed him every move was a picture. He goes, oh, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. Next time I need to go fast, he can trust me. I knew. So yeah, yes, ma'am. You see that throat latch, okay? That it'd be like trying to turn around a freight train,
Yeah.
But when I change it and I change your bridle and stuff, the end result makes all the difference in the world. I'm not up there touching this animal. The halter is doing the job, even with just baleen twine, And sometimes with some animals, this is too heavy. I'll just put one strand on them because they immediately start looking for getting away from their nose. They're so soft, especially colts that haven't been messed with. Oh man, they go so fast. But the ones that have been messed with, you got to get through the junk, So no lateral flexions, okay? You can do them home, don't do them here.
How often do you do this then? Just until they walk around once? You do it?
Okay, threes,
You
okay?
do it 3 times.
Three times, okay? When I start seeing my mule frame himself up like right there, I quit him,
Okay.
okay? You watched how much he moved around. Okay, now, here's my gait. I have him go around, and he comes around, and I see about half of the circle. He's doing good. He comes around to the gate. I watch him again. He comes around. He's all framed up 3/4 of the way. Now I come around the gate. Now he comes around the whole round pin framed up. Nose vertical, framed up. You know what? You hear what? Framed up. Hip, wither, head, framed up. Comes around here 1 time. Comes around again 2 times. Comes around again 3 times, framed up. Go back the other way. Clockwise, counterclockwise. 3 times. You'll see a difference with that brain compared to the other brain. Okay? Now the next time you bring it in, this mule is looking for it to get out of here. So as soon as he starts dropping his head and getting soft, 6 times by here, I'm done. 9, 12. Got the idea? All right? But again, what did I do in the very beginning? I just put him in here and let him walk around. Let him think about it. Let him start feeling that pressure. And then pretty soon, he'd come over here and just kind of stopped. I could see he was dropping his head. Okay, now it's time to move him. Of course, I would have normally moved him 3 times, but I wanted you all to see. I didn't take very long. Okay, makes sense?
Suppose he fought it, just wasn't, would you,
He stays in here until he does.
okay. Would you make any adjustments to the way you set up the halter and the surcingle and the side rein?
Pretty much the way I got it now. Notice there's no pressure, how loose they are. Okay? See how loose they are? I don't make them tight.
You wouldn't make them any tighter.
No, you make them tighter, you're going to make them brace.
Okay.
See, this way here, the halter works. Halter's doing the job.
Hop on the nose, bring his head.
Yeah. Little bugger snuck up behind me and noticed me. Did you see that? But he kind of found out that didn't feel too good when he done that.
Yeah, right. And you would always use something that's not stretchy.
Oh, yeah, nothing stretching. I don't want to pull on him.
Right.
Okay? I don't want to pull. Even if I do this, it's still pulling. If I bump him, it's not pulling. Anytime you do this, it's pulling, even with a string. So bumping, that's what does it. That's what fixes it. Okay? A surcingle, folks, this is a wonderful tool. Even my wife's mule, even trained mules that I've had in the past, once, twice a week, sometimes even more, I turn them loose out in the round pen and I do this to them. I let them frame themselves up. It's a tune-up, Do I know how to get in the saddle and frame them up? Yeah, okay. But maybe my next school person that I have come into school, they don't know how to do it, So this way here, I keep my mule tuned. And I don't have to be on their back to tune, okay? All right, makes sense?
Do you ever use any croppers, however you want to pronounce it? No? Okay, never mind. Your students answered it for
Yeah,
me.
okay, here's the deal. Tail crooper, everybody understands tail crooper, right? Last year, I was amazed. 3 people called me and said, I'm going to get your saddle, but does it have a place for a tail crooper ring? I say, no. They say, well, we want you to put a tail crooper ring on it. I said, no, this is my saddle. I designed it this way. Well, why don't you like a tail creeper ring? I said, because number 1, the saddle moves 2.5 inches forward. Number 2, you got a good chance of breaking the mule's back. One guy says, son, I've been doing this for 30-some years. And he said, I never broke a back one. Another Had another lady tell me the same thing. I've been riding all my life with a tail crooper. Had a young, the third one said, I'm just getting started, I want to use a tail crooper, okay? And I went through the whole mess with them. Understand, a tail crooper is only on bone, it's not on muscle mass, all right? Now, I'll talk about bridges and stuff later, but long story short, all 3 of them people within a month called me and said they had to put their mules down because they had broken backs because of the tail. The crooper broke the tail. One guy said I loosened it up because it was rubbing the underside of his mule. He loosened it up, so now the tail was sticking up and it just snapped. He said I heard it snap, and he said every one of them said I could feel the back end of the animal just drop and literally scoot like this. That had to be horrible. Had to be horrible. And when I talk about breechings and adjustments, you'll see why I use a breeching. Because you see, the breeching is not going to stay in one place all the time. Okay, folks, now notice how the mule is doing whatever the mule wants to do. And notice also how our handler has the rope fairly close, and then also to his hand. And notice how he's using his hand upside down like this. And notice the mule just pretty much has got him on ignore. Doesn't care less what he's doing or what's going on. He's saying, I want to do my own thing. And so we got to fix that. So I'm going to take this right here, and I want to adjust this down so it's 2 fingers above the nostril. Pull this up, push down, 2 fingers above the nostril. Now, as soon as he looks over there, I give him a bump. Looks over there, I give him a bump. Looks over there, I give him a bump. Notice the lips starting to lick. That means yes, sir. Straight. I want straightness only. Don't look over there, it's going to be uncomfortable. Notice how I have it loose until he makes a mistake. That's a mistake. That's perfect. That's a mistake. Only straightness, that's all I want. Not to move your feet. So when he does, I'm going to bump him. If he's not correct, I'm going to bump him. I want straightness only. Straightness only. Straightness only. There. Now, I don't want to move his feet. I want his feet to go. Now, let's just say I want to back him up. Again, I'll readjust the halter. Come along, hitch. Now I'll get in the front, and I'll just start bumping down. See how stiff he is? He's stiff in the front end. Bump him down. Move them feet. There we go. Moves the feet, I stop. See, he's looking for the answer. Why are you bumping on my nose? Well, I'll move back this much. No, I want you to move back more. Like that. Good. Now I'll move your head a little bit. Move you over here. Now I want you to stop right there. I want you to stop right there. I don't want you to move. I want you to be straight. You don't put your head down. Every time you make a mistake, I'm going to bump it. Keep your back. There, good. You're moving your feet, bump, 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 till the feet stop. Now this is going to help your timing. Come along work helps your timing. The feet with your hands.
So Steve, this mule's been out a pasture pet for 6 years. Hasn't been worked with. He's just been fed and fat and babied. So he doesn't respect space and boundaries. He nudges you with his head. He pushes you around.
Yep. It's the biggest problem that I have with mules. Is ground communication. People, hey, he rides good. So what? Fix it on the ground, you'll have a better ride. Notice the difference. Yeah, get out of here. He don't want to move because if he moves, his nose is going to be sore. Notice here, we got some hair moving. We're starting to make some marks. Good. Sooner he starts missing some hair, the more he's going to pay attention. The come-along hitch, folks, the come-along hitch is what works with the mules because they work off of their nose. So I want ground communication to learn how to listen. Throw it on the ground, he's now ground tied. Get out of here! In Brazil, I had people up in the audience yelling and screaming and stomping. The mule never moved. The horsemen teach, let his feet move until he quits. No, wait a minute. I'm at the Grand Canyon on the side of a hill. I want his feet to stay in place. Okay, stay right there. Good. So when you train using the nose. always do using come along rope for the next 6 months. Everywhere you take him, you're going to take him with the come along rope. Now, I'm going to teach the mule to go down the trail straight. If he looks to the right or to the left, I'm going to bump him. As long as he's looking straight, I'm going to be good. So, from the hitching post to the corral, from the hitching post to the trailer, I want my mule to be straight like this. I want leverage here so that I can control him. If I get here, he's got me. Here, I've got leverage. So he looks over that way, I give him a bump. Feet don't move. Give him a bump. Straightness. He's going to lick his lips. He's going to say, yes, sir. Now I pick him up, ask him to go, ask him to stop. Ask him to go, ask him to stop.
He's a quick learner. By a good teacher.
Thank you. Quick learners, exactly. But look, it's from the nose, guys. Yeah. I could take any mule. I had a Percheron horse that I trained up in Susanville, California, when I was a professor of equine science there in California. And so I taught the animal to jump up in a trailer. The owner had a broken arm. He had just got the horse from the trainer, but the trainer says, the only thing we can't do is load him in a trailer. And 20 minutes later, using this come-along hitch, that horse couldn't wait to jump in the trailer. And then I took the guy, I said, now take your broken arm and 2 fingers and take him over and let him jump in the trailer. That horse couldn't wait to get in there because of this. Now, the old guy I learned from, he did nothing but horses. But mules, I found out really good. It changes their whole attitude. Now, right there, I should have bumped him with his feet moved. But especially, I don't even look right and left. I'm to learn to be straight only. That was not my timing. See, it was too late. The timing needs to be when the feet are moving or when they're thinking about moving. Yeah, get out of here! Yeah. There you go. Come along hitch for the next 6 months. Anytime you're building a foundation, you build it over a 6-month time frame. Now, folks, you're watching this probably thinking, dang, that sure is tough on that mule. It sure is tough on them getting their nose roughed up, and it's really hard, a lot of work and this sort of thing. But folks, this animal, if he gets in my space right here and steps on me, I'm up a creek. This is an equine. I am a predator. They don't want me in their space anyway, and to move me, they'll come to me. Now, he's in my space right now. Let's just say I can't move him by doing the rope. I'll tap him right here. Now I'll tap him here. I get him out of my space. You see that? Or if I've got him trained well, which I don't have him yet, I just bump this. Shoulder, shoulder, there we go. Slightest try. Take the slightest try and go. If you don't get serious and give these guys a little bit of discomfort, you're going to have a problem. Now, where do I get this? A mare. When you're coming into my space, she looks at you and she pins her ears and she says, don't come no closer. You keep coming into her space. Now she pins her ears, she swishes her tail. She asks, now she told you, what does she do next? She kicks. So me, this little bit of bumping on the nose is nothing compared to a kick or a bite. When they get into your space, they're trying to move you. That's the way they say to get out of my space. Do what I want you to do. You don't want to do that. You want to tell them, you stand here, I can come into your space. Hey, get out of here, get out of here. You cannot come into my space. But notice, no matter what I do here, this mule don't want to move his feet because his nose is going to get bumped. When you train from the nose. So you come up here, yeah. He don't want to move his feet because he doesn't want his nose bumped. Since I'm not going down a steep mountain, I want to bring it up to about here.
Okay.
All right. So do you want to keep the snaps in there? I'll go ahead and tap the holes.
Let's tap some holes.
Okay.
And let's leave the snaps for now.
All
We
right.
may change it later.
Well,
Yeah, we're folding it all up. I think this is harder to punch than the leather.
Yes, ma'am, it is. get that nylon cord to go through the middle. This beta is 650 psi per square inch, and it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm still tore it up, and you got a mountain that the mule rolls down the side of. That makes a mess of things really quick. So, well, there. You see that brought the breeching up. We'll tap some holes.
Test this one.
There, right there. It's sure nice to be with gentle mules. In the past, we've had such bad ones.
Really?
I wouldn't even let people get in the arena with me.
Do I have this one set about right on the
The
scapula?
breast collar? Oh, the
Scapula
saddle.
and breast collar.
Yeah, we'll take a look, see. We'll get you adjusted up here first. Get that all lined out. Look like the saddle was setting pretty decent. Now, of course, you see the open spot here. That opening is to keep from putting pressure upon that spine. Those 3 bumps I was showing you,
Yes.
right in here, you can feel them. And then, of course, the back of my saddle comes up.
Yes.
And that's kind of usually how I like to ride and pull it up.
Okay.
So it doesn't sit on the back. Now it'll go back down
Okay.
a little bit, but if you pull it up, then it'll start
Okay.
right.
All right.
Should be fine.
Well, okay.
There we go.
Okay. This
Gives you a couple more
that's
holes.
about right. I think
We
that's
take a look here. So we got the saddle. Go off the edge. Very good.
okay.
Very good.
All right.
Then did you put your cinches? Yeah, we put those close enough together. Okay.
I want to get another rear cinch of yours to replace that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can sure fix you up. Yeah, you
and
got a
then-
36 where you need like a 34, I think.
Probably. Yeah. Yes, I want another cinch. And then let's try a finished bit
Okay.
on him and see
We can do that.
how he does on
I'm
that.
going to turn your stirrups here.
Alrighty.
And where your 80% of your accents is getting on and getting off, reaching down and adjusting your stirrup, getting your foot. So if we turn them, if you're going to store my saddles, always like in your trailer, tie them up like this.
Oh, all right.
All right, and if you look at my saddle, they're both pointing in the right direction. But I keep them trained to keep a stick in them. But when I unravel this, they'll almost be staying in place.
Okay, and you twisted it back
You twist it.
towards the back of the handle.
Yeah, I'll show you.
So both sides, you don't
On both sides. Okay, so I'll untwist it.
Yeah.
Now I want it. You see how it's starting to shape already instead of being here.
Yeah.
So I want it to be curved in here. So I will turn it clockwise. And the more I turn it, then this will start having memory and will stay in place.
Okay.
And then if you store it like this in your trailer,
That's a great idea.
then not only are the stirrups out of the way,
Yeah.
they'll stay the way you want them to stay.
Okay.
I did the same thing over here. Again, when I pull this thing down, you can see it automatically starting to stay in place. So you're going to go,
Always turn it towards the back.
yes,
Twist it towards the back.
twist it toward the back. So
Okay.
you got, this is the curve that you want. So you just start twisting it up.
Okay.
Notice back here how it's not touching, but as soon as I do this, now it's touching. So we'll take and punch another hole here. You want the system to fit flat. So you see, as soon as I take this up, now it's going to fit flat. And it'll keep you from wearing just in one spot. So there, that made the difference. You can adjust it really on both sides because they're going to be a little bit different. So when we got here, if you look over here, we got the gap underneath here. Okay? So we'll tap a hole and it's straight. And it's just enough gap right here. See how it changes? That's what you want, so that it fits completely flush. And then what we have is the old mule skinners used to keep around a little can of urine, and they would splash on the places where the hide would be being wore off. I prefer to use a mouthwash. I think it's a little cleaner. Listerine, something like that, and splash on it. It'll toughen it up that way.
Okay.
So there you go. You're set there. You're set there. Set that in place.
Position.
Yep, saddle's in good position. You take him, and it might be a little bit forward now that I feel it, because your scapula's right there. So I think I'd move it back about an inch. Feel it right here, the top of your scapula right there.
Okay.
You can't slide your hand down in. So if we loosen up the cinches here. Breast collar. Loosen that up a notch. Now feel it. See how you can shove your hand down in there?
Might set that saddle pad at the back of your dorsal strike there.
Yeah, if you take, and I tell people, if you take the edge of my pad and you put it right on the edge, right in here, then those two are even. That's where the saddle pad should be. Right where the height of the saddle pad and right where your scapula, they should be touching each another. See, now that we've done this, now that we've moved it back, now we'll have to readjust these. Right and left over here.
And
Once we get this adjusted, then it'll be in place every time.
as long as you get the saddle on the right.
Yes.
Well, you get to where it's kind of muscle memory when you slide it up into place, and it's inevitable when I see saddles on mules that go too far forward. Most of it's got to do with not tight enough breeching, or not tight enough rear cinch, and then a breeching that's not adjusted correctly. So see, now that this breeching, now we got it at an angle like it should be. It sits flush against the hip. As you can see right here, here's the perfect picture. See where you only been rubbing just in one spot? Right there. It's been rubbing in one spot. If the breeching was setting flush, you wouldn't have it just rub in one spot. So see, now that I've adjusted this breeching where it's setting flush against the hip, it'll help eliminate that. Because even though this is rounded, it's still going to cut hair because it's at an angle. So it's like a razor doing this. But now that you got it flat, it's going to be like this. So we got, that's the perfect picture right there.
Okay.
Right there. That's the perfect picture. That's a misadjusted breeching. Anytime, you should see the whole width of this thing. And especially when they have their winter hair, it's, that winter hair is going to come off pretty easy because it's not as heavy as your summer hair, okay? So it'll come off pretty easy. But here you can use a little mouthwash and toughen it up. That'll even get white flaky But that's a perfect example of having a cinch on the animal's back. I'm over doing it here, but when it's sticking up in the bottom and only hitting on the top.
Okay.
So now it's hitting
Good.
flat. Now it's hitting flat. And up. Deb, pull this in here. Yeah, I think it's left there.
Great.
You betcha. You betcha. Good.